We're all getting really excited about the new Hearthstone set coming, but one important thing to keep in mind is that it's also going to be the Hearthstone standard year rotation. That means 3 sets are going to be going away. I wanted to take a few moments to be able to talk about those sets and the cards that's in them, how it's going to affect the decks that are being played now, and what might be left, and what's actually just totally going away. We're going to be losing Forged in the Barrens, United in Stormwind, and Fractured in Alterac Valley, so I'm going to jump into these. We'll take a look at some of the cards that are no longer going to be with us in the standard format. Looks like Demon Hunter is going to be losing the Death Rattle support package. That deck was no longer seeing play anyway, so not too much of a loss there. Moving on to Druid, Prod's Fury going away. This card's still seeing play currently in Aggro Druid, and this card being gone may actually just be enough for Aggro Druid to die on the spot, just because Aggro Druid is going to have a hard time finding ways to be able to finish off their opponent. So Aggro Druid, I think, is probably going to be gone. Celestial Alignment is going to rotate. We don't have to worry about that deck anymore. I'm really happy about that. Important note here, this was also the set that introduced the hero card minions, so all of those are going to be rotating for every class. And you see here with Hunter, the only card still seeing play, probably Barak Kodobane. Nice card draw, it's gone. Ping Mage, dead on arrival, it will no longer be in standard, totally rotating. And then Frost Mage, losing a lot of support here as well. Another very strong deck currently seeing play. And then here we see the rest of the Ping Mage support, as well as Frost Mage type stuff, is going to be gone. So Mage definitely losing some key cards. As an individual card, Paladin's really going to miss Knight of Appointment or a Knight of Anointment. That's going to be gone. As well as Cariel. You know, both of those were just really solid cards, seen play in a lot of different Paladin decks. They will no longer be available in Standard. Priest losing Desperate Prayer. Again, you know, like a Control Priest card, that's going to be gone. And this one hits pretty hard, Zarella. So a couple of different Priest decks play Zarella. It's going to be gone. I think about, Boon Priest playing it as well as Control Priest. And Control Priest, again, losing Light Shower Elemental. So Control Priest getting hit pretty hard. Priest actually with some key cards in this set that's going to be going away. Rogue finally losing Wicked Stab. Some of those decks needing that little bit of extra reach no longer going to have access to that card, which seems to be a pretty big deal. And then the rest of this stuff either no longer seeing play or was just never good enough to be played in the first place. Getting into Shaman, we see a lot of the Murloc cards are going to be gone. Firemancer, Flurgle, and some of these other Murloc support cards. Those minions are going to be gone. Likely Murloc Shaman not going to survive without additional support from the new set. And then again, we see cards that either had their day and their time has passed, or were just never good enough to see play in the first place. Moving over to Warlock, Grimsack is somewhat of a loss. Lots of Warlocks play in this. You know, it's just good, cheap removal for your opponent's side of the board. And then we see some Imp support here is going to be going away, but just as one card, you know, that's not that big of a deal for that deck. And Warlock really going to miss their hero minion. Tamsin was just really good, saw play in a lot of different things, so likely this means that any form of combo Warlock is going to be dead. Getting into Warrior, Warrior is not even a real class right now. The class just struggles so hard. Really none of this going away is going to matter. It's just not good whatsoever. Then as we get into neutrals here, most neutrals never see play anyway, just because neutral cards are so weak. Far Watch Post, you know, does potentially see some play in control decks like a Blood Death Knight. That's going to be no longer available. Talented Arcanist, I think it's maybe no longer played anymore in any deck whatsoever. And then we see, just more cards that were never good enough anyway. Samuro may have still had a place in something like a Control Paladin or possibly a Blessed Priest. It's going to be gone. And then just thumbing through here, Mutinous finally going to be gone. That Hand Disruption option is going to be rotating out of Standard, so I know a lot of people will be happy to see this go. I think I'm happy to see it go. And looks like that's going to do it for Forged in the Barrens. Moving on to United in Stormwind here, we're going to go back to the Demon Hunter. You can see here right off the bat, all of the quests are going to be going away. Every single class quest is going to be gone, so all quest decks dead on arrival. Demon Hunter losing Sigil and Fell Barrage. Those are certainly key losses. Fell Demon Hunter taking a big hit there. As well as Jace. So Fell Demon Hunter is actually going to be dead without some additional support being printed. Taking a look at Druid here. Druid Quest, certainly a deck that's played right now. That's going to be gone. Moonlit Guidance, a card that's seen lots of play. So any deck that Druid uses that plays this is going to be missing it. Doesn't really create any archetypes of its own. It's just really, really solid card draw and being able to discover a card out of your deck. Hunter, of course, the quest is gone. Hunter losing Dog Biscuit here, so we're going to see lots of tradable cards going away in this set. This a very, very strong Hunter card that has seen lots of play. Devouring Swarm, currently used in Shockspitter Hunter, so Shockspitter is going to be taking a little bit of a hit there. And then we see the only other notable card here looks like the Rat King. The Rat King was used quite a bit in Big Beast Hunter. Getting into Mage, Deepwater Evoker is gone. That's going to be Big Spell Mage taking a hit. And also Grey Sage Parrot, so Big Spell Mage kind of already on the ropes just from looking at the cards rotating in this set, losing quite a bit of support there. We'll have to keep an eye on that as we move through. Paladin definitely going to be missing the Alliance Bannerman. Again, just a solid standalone card. It didn't enable any archetypes, but it's something that saw quite a bit of play. Card draw and a bit of hand buff. And then we see more cards that rotation doesn't really matter all that much. Quest Priest finally gone. I'm so happy to see that. I'm really tired of playing, 25 and 30-minute Hearthstone games, especially when it turns out that I lose. Shard of the Nauru and also Amulet of the Undying. These are big losses for the Priest class, especially Control Priest, and some other archetypes may have played these as well, but, tradable, and the effects were really good. They were just good, solid, cheap cards, so Control Priest absolutely getting hammered. And Void Touch Attendant going away as well, so any aggressive Priest deck is going to be hurting with this card rotating out just because of the extra damage that it can afford those decks. And Dark Bishop Benedictus saw play off and on, currently seeing play in Undead Priest, previously saw play in Shadow Priest. That card is going to be gone, and that may actually be enough to be able to kill off the Undead Priest archetype, with Benedictus in combination with Void Touch Attendant being gone. So Undead Priest, certainly a very strong deck in the current meta, maybe non-existent as we move into the new Hearthstone year. Getting into Rogue, Blackwater Cutlass being gone, this is going to hurt Rogue. I think every Rogue deck pretty much plays this. The tradable and the discount is really good. Miracle Rogue is going to hurt from that. I think that's the main deck still seeing play, as well as Jackpot Rogue now that I think about it. They run these as well. And Loan Shark's going away, so there's not going to be any of these 20 coin turn shenanigans. And we see Death Rattle Rogue finally going to be laid to rest. Death Rattle support looks like it's going to be rotating with this set as well. And Rogue also going to miss Edwin. This is kind of like a card that was a win condition in and of itself. Nice card draw here, and of course the effects to be able to get a big minion. So Rogue is definitely going to be missing that. Moving over into Shaman. Shaman actually losing Bolner, as well as Cookie. So again, just two high quality legendary cards for the class. Cookie, again, it's a Murloc, so Murloc Shaman is probably taking a huge hit, not going to be able to survive. Cookie saw play outside of Murloc Shaman, just in general in Shaman, because of the amount of lifesteal that it was going to be able to generate over the course of a game. Warlock here losing touch of the Nath Razim. It was nice removal on, these 2 health minions, or 2 health remaining minions. A good cheap healing option there is going to be gone. And we see Imp Warlock actually going to be taking a hit here. Wicked Shipment gone. And Shady Bartender gone as well, so that may actually be enough to kill off Imp Warlock. And Rune Mithril Rod finally going to Wild, so we don't have to worry about any more of these highly discounted Warlock hand shenanigans as far as like combo decks. Again, Tamsin being gone, as well as Rune Mithril Rod. I think we're looking at Mind Warlock being totally gone. Again, we see the quest here. Quest Warrior gone. Lots of the pirates that were printed to support the quest. Warrior, not a real class at the moment. If Control Warrior are a thing, they would really be hurting from heavy plate rotating, tradable plus the big armor there. And then getting down into the neutral minions, looks like all board decks are going to be gone. No such thing as a board deck in Standard Hearthstone anymore after this current year rotation. Lots of aggro decks going to be missing Peasants, a little bit of card draw, and just a good solid early game minion there. Mailbox Dancer rotating, this is actually a pretty big deal. I don't think Miracle Rogue survives, with the Blackwater Cutlass rotating, and especially the Mailbox Dancer, being able to play this, Shadow Step it, all the extra coins that you generated, and then being able to play cards with the mana generated from those coins. I think Miracle Rogue, their pop-off turns, you're looking at potentially 5, 6, maybe even 7 less cards played on those turns just because this rotates. And so the Draka weapon much smaller, the minions coming off location smaller. I think Miracle Rogue is probably just dead. Draka is not going to have enough support, nor is the location, at least in the current form of deck, to be able to do the things that it's doing now. And again, we see here some minions that don't necessarily see play. Rustrod Viper was always on the fringe as a tech card whenever you need weapon destruction. Certainly that tradable tag made it a lot easier to stomach actually putting this in your deck. And same note for Guild Trader, you see it now in Fell Demon Hunter. A lot of times it just gets traded because you only want to draw it when it's really discounted. Those cards going to be rotating to Wild as well here. And we see some irrelevant stuff. Mr. Smite finally going to be gone. I liked the card. I liked what it did for Hearthstone. You really need a way to be able to end games I think a lot of people were just frustrated when they lost, and they blamed it on this card just because this is what actually set their health to 0 or less. And also Lady Prester going away. So Prester decks would pop up from time to time. They are no longer going to be a thing. And that does it for Stormwind. So we are going to move on to the final set that's going to be rotating, and that's going to be Fractured and Alterac Valley. Here we can see this just to me looks like Aggro Demon Hunter, at least in its current form, is going to be dead. Maybe it can be replaced, but Dread Prison Glaive being gone, this card represents so much of the damage potential from that deck when combined with Multi-Strike to be able to hit a minion and the hero in the same turn. Battle Ward Vanguard, again, was just a key card in those aggressive Demon Hunter decks. And we can see here that all of the hero cards are going to be rotating as well. So all heroes for every class are going to be gone. It's going to be a pretty big deal because some of those heroes still seeing play currently. Moving on to the Druid cards, not seeing a whole lot here except for Guff. I know a lot of people have been looking forward to this. Guff going to be gone. And Scale of Onyxia is actually a big loss for any type of Druid that kind of had the ramp game plan. Being able to get this down on turn 7 and really just clear the board in order to stay safe. Druid losing that option is going to be a big deal. Shock Spitter Hunter losing Bloodseeker. I do believe it's also kind of been somewhat announced that Bran is not going to be a part of the core set for the new Hearthstone year, so Shock Spitter Hunter may actually not be a deck. It's losing weapons, although I do think we're expecting the Hunter class to get a weapon with the Festival of Legends set, but Bran being gone is going to, it's definitely going to hurt the deck. May still be able to survive though, not ready to call it dead just yet, but Shock Spitter Hunter definitely going to be losing some power. And then we also see the Big Beast support is going to be going away, so Big Beast Hunter not going to be a thing, at least in its current form. And then, of course, Tavish, one of the best hero cards. It's just so good. Again, all hero cards going away. Mage losing some of its early game minions. Again, that's Frost Mage getting hit, so Frost Mage losing quite a bit, it looks like. And Big Spell Mage with Belinda. And then we see the rest of the big spells here are going to be going away, so Big Spell Mage absolutely dead. There's just not going to be enough support left for that to be an archetype. Paladin, again, losing an individual card in Stonehearth Vindicator. Card still sees play. It's been really good with Order in the Court. But this card is actually going to be rotating to Wild, no longer available. And then, of course, we see the hero card. So Paladin overall, it looks like is still going to be okay. They're losing some key individual cards, but it doesn't feel like they're losing an entire archetype. So Paladin likely going to be intact, at least in some way similar to what we're currently seeing, possibly. Priest, again, just getting hit really hard. Gift of the Nauru, again, just a key control priest card. Blessed Priest, no longer going to be a thing. Likely Boon of the Ascended isn't going to see play anymore either, because there's not going to be enough support for that card. And then again, you see Control Priest just getting totally dismantled with so many of their key cards that are going to be going away, as well as the hero card here. So Control Priest, if it's going to be a deck in Festival of Legends, then it's going to have some extra support. Certainly, it's going to look totally different than what it looks like right now, if it is a thing. Again, Death Rattle Rogue finally being laid to rest. Snowfall Graveyard going to be rotating to Wild. As well as we see some of the Thief Rogue support here is going to be going away as well. I'm kind of happy to see that. And actually, with Contraband Stash being gone, I think that means Thief Rogue is actually just going to be dead as well. So Rogue, again, another class that's getting hit pretty hard by this rotation. And they're definitely going to be looking for some additional cards and maybe even some new archetypes for the class. Shaman going to be losing Wildpaw Cavern. Again, not seeing so much play right now, but it was always a card that maybe would crop back into certain decks. And then outside of that, Shaman from this set going to be losing the hero card. Not too many other things still seeing play. Tamsin's Phylactery being gone means Combo Warlock is going to be gone. There's going to be no more Monlocks. They've lost the Phylactery. They've lost the weapon, Rune Mithril Rod. That deck is going to be gone. And then again, of course, Warlock again going to be losing the hero card. Again, this is one of the better hero cards that we saw during its time in Standard. Getting on to Warrior, again, not a real deck, but we see that Control Warrior taking a hit. And you know it's bad when a deck that isn't even good enough to see play is actually losing cards. Shield Shatter going to be gone as well. Losing the hero card. Losing the Onyxian Drake. And Galvangar gone as well. That'll mean no more Charge Warrior, although I don't think that's been a thing for a little bit of time. Getting into the neutrals here, Iron Deep Trog is going to be gone. Kind of interesting, you look at the flavor text, stop aggroing more. It's ironic if they intended this to be an anti-aggro card. I think it was only ever used in aggro decks. So that's a little interesting note about Trog. I'll be sad to see the Trog go. I always liked Iron Deep Trog. Looking at some more of these neutral cards, Drekthar no longer sees play. It had its time in the sun, dominating, had to be nerfed. It's going to be gone, and really just not good enough anymore anyway. Spammy Arcanist, actually kind of a big deal. Decks that were a little bit slower, that needed to be able to clear the board, Spammy Arcanist saw play in. I saw it in Druid, I saw it in Mage, and just a solid all-around card that's no longer going to be available in Standard. I'll miss that card. Kazakhstan decks, no longer going to be in Standard. Kazakhstan himself actually rotating here. And we see the Raid Boss is also going to rotate. Again, I think this card is not necessarily played anymore. Maybe you saw it rarely from time to time. Might currently see play in any kind of deck that's going for like dragons, maybe a Kazakhstan deck, but it is also going to be rotating. So you can see here lots of cards and actually lots of archetypes are going to be rotating into Wild. We're going to keep an eye on what's going on with Festival of Legends, but we should be seeing an entirely new Hearthstone meta with tons of new archetypes and lots of new cards, of course, coming with the new set. I'm going to be keeping an eye on that, and as soon as we have enough information to be able to do some theory crafting, I'm going to be presenting you with some theory crafted decks so that we can make a smooth transition as we get into the new Hearthstone meta. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Uncorrupt, and good luck out on the ladder.